Hey, my name is Dave Ratt, and I'm going to talk a bit about mic polarity on stage miking. I did an article about this a while ago for Pro Sound Web, and thought I'd do a video as well. People like to watch. What do we got? Okay. Pedal goes this way, pushes the beater, pushes the head out, pushes a positive pressure on the microphone, which sends out of the wire a positive voltage. When the head bounces back the other way, comes this way, we get a negative voltage next. So basically, if we were to look at that sine wave, it pushes out, the first thing we get is a positive voltage, and the next thing we get is a negative voltage. Alright, so we got the kick drum here, beater, got a drummer that sits right here on a drum throne, and behind him, let's put a speaker, giant drum fill, and in this drum fill are some big speakers, and we'll plug that into an amp, and we'll put a mic over here, and we'll plug this into a mixing board. Kick drum pedal goes this way, hits a drum, creates a positive pressure wave on the microphone. The positive pressure wave, if your system is wired correct, will create a positive pressure wave here, and your speaker will move outward. So we have the speaker moving towards the drummer, and we have the drum head moving away from the drummer. Then the head naturally rebounds backwards, creates a negative wave, comes all the way around, creates a negative wave, and so our first experience is the speaker moving towards with the drum head moving away, and the next experience is the drum head bouncing back and the speaker moving back. Let's take a look at this scenario here. We have somebody in the middle of this. We have this one moving towards, that one moving away, this one moving towards, that one moving away. Think of your home stereo speakers. What if we wired them like that? So this one moved away from you and this one moved towards you. They would be out of phase, out of polarity. Ideally, for maximum low-end summation coupling, we would have them both moving away at the same time, or both moving towards you at the same time, which is the opposite scenario of what we're seeing here. What do we do to correct this? If we hit the polarity switch in the mixing board, which is down here, then he hits the drum, or she hits the drum, it creates a positive pressure, it goes all the way through, it goes into the polarity switch, which turns that positive pressure into a negative pressure, a negative voltage. Negative voltage comes into here, and this moves away. So when the drum head moves away, the speaker moves away. When the drum head moves back the other way, the speaker moves back. Now we have an in-phase or in-polarity situation. With a kick drum, we are miking the back of the head. When the impact hits it, it puts a positive pressure wave on the mic. We've got our snare drum, and our drummer dude over here, drummer, real tall skinny guy, big long leg. We got a drum fill back there, and he hits the drum, or she hits the drum. It moves down and away. We got a little mic over here. Creates a negative pressure wave. The drum is moving away from the drummer, and the negative pressure wave causes the speaker to move away from the drummer. So your snare drum's in polarity. Let's go back to the kick drum example. And there's our kick drum. And here's our drum monitor. When this drum moves away, and you have an out of polarity situation, and the drum fill speaker is moving towards, the drum head moves away, the speaker moves towards, it actually pushes and impacts the drum head and moves it farther away, which then creates more positive voltage, which moves the speaker farther out, which moves the head farther away. When the head finally reaches maximum, or whatever resonance is hit, it starts to come back, creates a negative voltage, and the speaker pulls back, the head pulls back. So what you get is this resonant situation, and that resonant situation is what we call feedback. And so in order to minimize feedback, we would want these to be canceling each other out. When this head moves towards, it's creating a impulse that moves the speaker towards. When the head's moving away, it creates a speaker. By hitting the polarity reverse, we actually can use the speaker to dampen the head slightly and minimize feedback and increase impact for the drummer. Alright, so that's pretty simple setup there. Hope that makes sense. How do we know what it is? How do we test it? Pretty simple stuff there too. Basically just turn it on. I like drawing this kick drum. We'll draw it again. Kick drum we turn on with no EQ. We turn this mic on and we turn it up in drum fill. We'll call it the DF. And we'll bring it up till it starts to feedback. Feedback till we hit FB. And we might touch the head a little bit. We get a little feedback on it. Then we will hit the polarity reverse button on the channel. If the feedback, when it's just at that verge of feedback, it just starts to take off. If the feedback increases, then we hit this button again because it made it worse. And if the feedback reduces, then we leave it in. Alright, so the number one thing you do, number one, is determine kick polarity. Because once you've determined the kick drum polarity versus the drum fill, assuming that the rest of the stage equipment sound system is wired the same and correctly, you can now build your polarity system for the rest of the stage, or for at least the rest of the kit. You'll find that some monitor rigs are pin 2 plus and some are pin 3 plus. A pin 2 plus rig will have a positive pressure on the microphone, which means the diaphragm is moving in, will create a positive pressure out. A pin 3, a positive pressure on the microphone will create a negative pressure out. Alright, so now that we've determined our kick drum polarity, let's say our kick drum has to be polarity reversed when we mic the back of the drum, non-beater side. And we have two kick mics, so the second kick mic will polarity reverse. Next mic in my mic chart is a snare top. That's not going to be polarity reverse, that'll be in. So we'll call that, we'll put a polarity sign by the reverses. Next one's going to be snare bottom. We're miking the non-stick side of the head, so we'll reverse that. Hi-hat will be in polarity because I'm miking the stick side. What do I got next? Rack, I typically mic from the top. If I'm miking from the top, it'll be in phase. Floor drum, same thing. Ride cymbals. Typically I mic my ride cymbals from underneath. Non-beater side, I typically polarity reverse them. Now we can take a look at that. We've got a rack tom here. We've got a ride cymbal here. We got a mic on the bottom of that. We got a mic on the top of this. Now look at which way the mics are pointing. So this one is in polarity. And this one here is underneath, and we'll call this out. So again, if you actually, from a level playing field, you can actually say that, see that this mic, because it's pointing up, is polarity reversed. If this mic was up above, let's say the ride cymbal was up here, and you had this mic up here pointing, this would actually be a summing point. This would actually, because this is flipped in polarity and turned around in direction, would pick up the tom in phase. You can get into many depths of complexities there. Pretty much what I do is, if I'm micing the stick side, it's the opposite polarity as if I'm miking the non-stick side. And I determine my starting point off my kick drum, and I go ahead and click my polarity reverse switches accordingly from that point forward. If I'm mixing in front of house and it's unknown, I will just start with the kick. The kick's reversed, snare top, snare bottom reversed, and underheads, and any underhead cymbals reversed. All right.